Hey everybody, Jonesy here. You can probably hear from my voice. I'm fighting a cold. I was actually down and out for the better part of the week, which means I've been off the trainer for a week, and that's really disappointing because I was doing really well. But I'm finally up and out of bed, and we are getting ready to head out to our favorite Sunday lunch spot, and we'll see what else I can accomplish today. I decided to jump into a little bit of nutrition. I've been wanting to work on this Feed Zone Portables book. So I picked a recipe that looked appealing, something savory, and today I'm going to go ahead and make Masala Chicken Rice Cakes. One thing I have learned over time, getting everything in place before you start really is a huge help. It's a very simple, straightforward recipe. It is basically rice, a bit of meat with some spices, and pressed into a cake. So the first thing to do is put about 3 cups of basmati rice into my Instant Pot with some water and a bit of salt and get that rolling. While that rice is cooking, I can turn to the rest of the ingredients that I have to finish this up. You'll see me putting scraps in that silver bin. That is a compost bin, and that's just one of the things I've gotten in the habit of using. I find that it's great and it doesn't smell at all, and I've got some wonderful compost for my garden every year. A quick wipe down of the cutting board, and then here's another little trick that I've learned over time with cooking. Go ahead and put like a wet paper towel or just a good solid towel onto your surface, and then put the cutting board over top of it. It keeps the cutting board very stable. This works whether it's under the wooden one that I have directly on the countertop or whether it's this plastic one that I use for cutting meat. I'm not going to bother to show you all of the meat chopping. The recipe actually calls for ground chicken, but I couldn't find any good ground chicken, so I just chopped it up nice and fine. Just a bit of hot oil in a pan and fry off the onions to start things off. Once the onions are pretty nicely done, and yes, I have the pan just a little bit too hot, then it's time to add in a couple of other spices. The recipe, again, I made a small change. The recipe calls for curry powder, but I actually put in garam masala. I really like the flavor of garam masala. Once that was browned off, rather than tomato sauce, I put in a bit of harissa, a little bit more spicy. Kind of took the place of both the tomato sauce and the jalapenos, which I forgot to pick up at the grocery store. Then comes the chicken, and because it is so finely chopped, it doesn't take any time at all to cook. The pan was a little hot, so I put just a little cool oil in it to bring the temperature down to something manageable. Once everything is well cooked, then comes the yogurt. Again, I made a little bit of a substitution. The recipe calls for Greek yogurt, which is really nice and thick. Instead, I used some of our local yogurt, which I much prefer. A quick taste test, always taste everything you make. And this part of the filling is ready to go. Just pull it off and let it cool while the rice finishes up. There's the rice. I had a lot of trouble finding the right timing to use to cook basmati rice in an Instant Pot. I had everything listed from 1 minute to 5 minutes to 25 minutes. So I'm taking a quick taste to make sure that the rice is cooked through, not overcooked, not undercooked. No need to wait for the rice to cool. I'm just going to go ahead and put it right in with the meat that's already cooked. Give it a really good mix. Make sure you mix it all the way from the bottom. And again, take a taste. Always make sure you taste, especially at the end. It's your last chance to add just a little bit of spice to it. Salt and pepper is always good. Salt just brings out the flavor of almost everything you do. Now that everything is well mixed and seasoned the way I want it, it's time to put it into a 9x13 pan so I can press it into rice cakes. You may have noticed a couple times in this video that I use latex gloves. I do that a lot when I cook. Not only was I not cross-contaminating, but it's much easier to press all of this into the 9x13 pan. Press it down well so it's compacted and really has a chance to form actual rice cakes. While the rice cakes are cooling in the pan, I'm just going to take a few paper-backed foil sheets and cut them in half so they're a better size to wrap the rice cakes. Once the foil is cut, I've got a little bit of time. The rice cakes aren't quite cool enough to cut, so I might as well do a little bit of cleanup. The rice cakes have cooled enough that they can be wrapped up now. You want to take a 9x13 pan like this and cut them into about 15 rice cakes. Once I've got all the cuts done, then I'm going to pull them out and one at a time wrap them up. Just grab a nice square. This was my first attempt at wrapping, so you can see I am fiddling just a little bit, trying to make sure I've decided just where the wrapping paper goes. One thing that they do recommend, and that I am doing on all of these, is folding this backwards. That way, when it's all said and done, that is going to be exposed on the outside, which also means I can write on the paper what I have wrapped up. If you've got 3 or 4 different flavors of rice cakes to choose from and you haven't labeled them, it could be a really exciting adventure when you're hungry for something savory and you pick up something sweet, or vice versa. It's really not going to be that appealing. I'm getting a little more efficient at my wrapping. Again, I'm just making a quick crease and then taking that one side, folding it down so that when all is said and done, I have a place to write things down. Grabbing another rice cake, and this is the point where I'm realizing that they're a little less sticky than I want them to be. So I need to change my rice recipe just a little bit to make stickier rice, because I think that's going to make better rice cakes the next time around. These aren't too bad, but especially when you're on the bike, you want them really nice and sticky so that they're easy to handle on the road. I've given up with the top crease, and now I'm grabbing just another one, and off it goes onto the wrapping paper. It was this moment when I realized just how big this rice cake was compared to all the rest. If you think that's going to stop me from wrapping this one up as is, though, you're wrong. All right, I've got everything all wrapped up, so I'll just take a permanent marker, make sure it's a permanent marker, and write down what I've got in all these lovely little packages. So here we are with the first batch of Masala Chicken Rice Cakes from Feed Zone Portables. No, doesn't quite look like the picture, but let's give them a taste. tastes really good. Not super spicy, and you don't want super spicy on a bike ride, but enough to make it appealing. The rice could probably be a little stickier. I was having a lot of trouble finding kind of the definitive directions on cooking rice in my Instant Pot, so I'll have to fine tune that, but it's a good start. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Coming up in the end of March, I'm doing the Tour de Lis. There is a link in the description below so you can contribute to that. If you know anyone in the New Orleans area, please, by all means, let them know to support cancer services and research in their area. While you're at it, please take a quick moment to like and subscribe and share this video. It makes a big, big difference. Everything helps. You can also keep track of all my adventures and everything coming up on the Jonesy Cycles for Cancer website over on WordPress. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next ride.